Return to some fun. That's exactly what happened today in the series finale in Philadelphia. And oh my goodness, does it feel a lot better than it did less than 24 hours ago when they were losing again. Today, they at least salvage one game of the three-game series, do it in style from Spencer Arrighetti flirting with a no-hitter into the eighth inning to Yordan Alvarez smoking 3 home runs. We have so much to get into today when it comes to this Locked On Astros postcast because it was fun. Like I mentioned, fun again with the Astros. We all want to have fun, and that's exactly what we got in large part. Well, I mean, thanks to everybody. 18 hits and the spaghetti man himself twirling a gem. We'll talk about it all today, and we'll preview the Royals series right here on the Locked On Astros postcast. Hi, and thanks for joining us this evening, early evening. Appreciate you guys. I am your host, of course, Michael Connor. If you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button and come on back. I will be making an appearance later on tonight on and I don't know when the episode will come out, I guess in the morning, the Locked On Cougs postcast later tonight with Parker. So go check that out as well. We, of course, here on this channel do Astros, Rockets, Cougs, and Texans. And you can find this anywhere that you get your podcast. Just go search for Locked On Astros. Today's episode of the Locked On Astros postcast is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On MLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. All right. So the Astros today just feels right, doesn't it? You see the smile on my face today? I like having a smile on my face. I'm a happy person. I'm always a glass half full kind of person. I don't prefer to live in the negative. It does nothing for me, but make me feel like I'm bogging myself down. Why? For what reason? There's no reason. That's why last night, even though they lost, I sat here and I looked at you and I went, they're still going to win the AL West, which, by the way, the Mariners lost last night. Mariners won today, so it's all right. Stays out as it is. 3.5 games? Fine. Everything is going to be good. And you know why everything's going to be good? Because good things happen when you do good. You put good in. I'm kidding. I don't. Like they go out and they perform well like this, pound out 18 hits. Typical Astros fashion in years past would be to go out tomorrow and stink up the joint. We'll see if that happens. Hopefully it does not happen. I'm going to go ahead and guess Yordan doesn't have another 4-for-4 day with 3 home runs. He's a monster. He's just an absolute monster. To our favorite person in the comments section, if you guys are, again, new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. You will see David typically pop in and have something to say about Yordan, but he probably can't say anything about Yordan today because Yordan hit 3 home runs and had another hit. That's pretty good. Now, in all reality, it has nothing to do with what the batter's eye is or whatever it might be. Yordan does have to perform better at home. It's just one of those years where it happens to guys all the time. They'll have unbelievable numbers in road games and they'll have horrible numbers at home games. And maybe he's not getting enough sleep at home because he's got a kid that's teething. I mean, I know he's got a lot of kids. Maybe he's got a kid that's teething, so he's not getting enough sleep when they're back in Houston. I don't know. Maybe he's just getting to the ballpark earlier than normal and it's thrown on. Whatever it might be, something silly. He's been unbelievable on the road this season, has Yordan Alvarez. Up to 28 home runs now in the season. It was always going to be another 30-plus year. We'll see if he can get his career high. I've always said this, and I do mean it. He's got the power to be a 50-plus home run guy in a season. And I still think at some point we're going to see him do it. He's now 27 years old. He'll be 28 in the middle of next year. I think it's in there. I know it's in there. 37's his career high. Probably not going to get that. They got 30 games left, or 29 games left. He's not hitting enough home runs, I think, between now and then. But if he does, great. That means the Astros will probably win the AL West by about 8 or 9 games at that point. But one thing that he does need to do, or one thing that just has never happened, is he's never hit 40-plus home runs, which is wild because he's one of the best home run hitters in the game. And I also think it's part of his downfall to doing that is that he's too good of a hitter. He's not up there always looking to just smoke the ball over the fence. Like, he's not selling out for home runs. He just looks to drive the baseball to gap. And then he just so happens to flick them, off his wrist, or he hits line drives. I mean, the home run, the last one, is damn line drive to center field. It's stupid. It's stupid how powerful he is. I don't want him to sell for home runs. I want him to always stay like this. I always want him to be a guy that's very disciplined, that takes his walks, doesn't strike out a ton, which he really doesn't. I mean, his strikeout numbers, he's been over 100 twice, and he's come down every year, basically, since 2021 in terms of numbers. I know that he did play fewer games last year. He was going to strike out over 100 times last year. This year is going to be tight. He's at 79 on the year. We'll see if he gets there. But one thing that he does have to do, whatever it is figure out the hitting at home thing. He's got the road aced. On the road this year, Yordan, 360 with 20 home runs and 51 runs batted in, an OPS of 1157. His home numbers, 259, 8 home runs, 20 runs batted in, 754 OPS. Why? I don't know. I really don't know. He loves day games too, by the way. 331 in day games, 17 home runs. He hits well in the night games too, 300 with 11, but he really crushes day games this year. It is what it is, right? Sometimes you just have a year where you stink in one place and you're great in another. I was trying to pull up his lifetime numbers real quick. I know his lifetime numbers at home are good. He's always performed very well at Minute Maid Park overall. Career numbers at home, 290 hitter, 68 home runs. On the road, 305, 80 at today's home runs in, 89 home runs. I would assume the batting average hasn't moved a lot. It might be like 306 now. But he's been a great home player. I mean, he's been great. He's been great in both. He's been exceptional on the road this season. It was such an exceptional day for the Astros that they also, I don't want to forget about it, forced the Phillies to throw a position player. And I got to say, I'm a little disappointed in their effort against him. What's his face there at the end? Wilson was pitching, Weston Wilson for the Phillies, and he's throwing 42, 43 miles an hour. You only get one hit off the man. I mean, come on. One. Ben Gamel, I'm telling you, give Ben Gamel his Astros Hall of Fame jacket right now. They've added him to this roster, a 3-hit day today. Every game that he's been with the Astros, I believe he has at least one hit now. I'm pulling it up right now. He's gone, well, no, excuse me. That's not true. He's gone 2 for 3, 0 for 2, 2 for 3, 1 for 3, 1 for 4, 1 for 3, 3 for 5. Good pickup. They've got Jason Hayward coming in as well. We'll see what the roster move is for that. Going to be interesting to see what they do. They did well there, but I'm not disappointed in Ben Gamel. I'm disappointed that they could hit the real pitchers, which, maybe Taijuan Walker this year. He looks pretty hittable to me. Like, I think maybe you and I could at least make contact against him. I'm not saying it would go into fair territory, but maybe you could make contact against him because he gave up 13 hits today. He's bad for a guy that was good a few years ago. I mean, really, really bad. Not a lot of the Astros maybe have seen him the same. Some of the Astros have seen him in the past, of course, when he was in Seattle. But they handled their two guys, him and Mercado, today pretty well. The other thing of note from the baseball game today, before we get into Spencer Arrighetti's awesome outing today, or two things I should say. Jose Altuve made a great base running decision to start the scoring. I could not believe it. Now, look, he got thrown out later stealing a base. That's okay. He got his 20th stolen base, his first 20 stolen base season since 2017. He's 20 of 27 on the year stealing bases. So good for Jose to do that. Also had 2 knocks. That batting average right back up there near 300. Got the OPS creeping right back up there towards 800. He needs to get to both. He wants to get to both. Oh, I'm totally bearing the lead, too. Good for Chas McCormick. Now, look, Chas McCormick might be out of a big league roster spot tomorrow if Jason Hayward comes through and is, officially on the roster. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. I would assume it would be. And then he'd probably be right back for the September call-ups. But, Chas McCormick hits a 2-run home run in a place that means a lot to him with his family there, and a place where he made what's going to be the highlight of his career. I'm willing to say that. He's never going to have a highlight bigger than that catch that he made in Philadelphia. I'm telling you, I was in the stadium that night when Chas made that catch in right center. When that ball left Real Muto's bat, I am a non-biased media member when you're sitting in the media seats, but I, of course, am always going to be biased towards wanting the Astros to win. It's good for business, right? Yeah, it's better. It's better when they win. You guys want to hang out and listen more, watch more, whatever it might be. But I did when that ball was off the bat, like, oh, God, that's crushed. That's not good. And he went up, and that's the best catch I've ever witnessed in my life in person. And I'm telling you, the feeling of that building, they're ramped up because, they're looking to get a win there. They're trying to get back into it. It's the World Series, and they're trying to get the energy going in that ninth inning, and it just sucked the life out of that place so quick. I mean, just the collective. We were sitting. Our media section was right near the Astros fans, like traveling family and whatnot, and they're going nuts. It was just, I'm telling you, it's one of those vivid memories of my life, and I've been lucky enough to experience unbelievable moments. That one, and watching Altuve field that ball. I'm standing behind home plate in Dodger Stadium in 2017, and chuck it over there to first to Yuli off Seager's bat. Ingrained in my brain forever. So good for Chas hitting a home run today. Good for him. The other thing was Bregman taking that ball off the dome, 88-mile-an-hour cutter. It wasn't intentional. The guy came in and spiked a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, right into the dirt and almost drilled Yordan. He just clearly didn't have any kind of control at all. Hopefully he's okay. The Astros can't afford to lose Alex Bregman. He's already playing banged up enough as it is. You don't need him taking baseballs at a high rate of speed off his helmet. Even if there's a helmet there, that thing still hurts. Hopefully there's no concussion. I'll see if there's any tweets about Joe Espada or whatever, or from Joe Espada updating the, Bregman and how he's feeling, or even if it's from Bregman himself. We got a lot more to get into. We got, of course, Spencer Arrighetti doing his thing today. He was unbelievable. Let's talk about him next during the Locked On Astros Postcast. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships, is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. Because of the eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. And one more message before we get back to our Astros discussion. We get into Spencer Arrighetti thinking about throwing a no-hitter today. I want to remind you guys about PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get a $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50. Like I said, it's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Locked On Astros Postcast on a Wednesday evening. Thanks for stopping by and saying hello. I'm your host, Michael Connor. If you know me, hi, welcome back. If you don't know me, I am a person that has been covering the Astros for a very long time on the radio forever. And, well, here I am now with Locked On, and I am having a great time with you guys, and we are appreciative to them. This channel does not just do Astros, of course. We're going to do these for Texans, Rockets, Cougs. This Saturday, we're going to have Astros and Cougs available to us. The plan is to do Astros live when the game ends, and the Cougs game will have ended a little while before I do it, but I do plan to do the Cougs game as well on Saturday night. You can, of course, get this show anywhere that you get your podcast. Go and search for Locked On Astros, and you'll get this show and the Locked On Astros show. I always encourage you guys, seriously, go check out Brett and Eric. I'm sure they'll be live here in just a bit, doing their show on their YouTube page, so go follow them or go hit the subscribe button like you can be doing here to help us get to 1,800. Still, I think we're getting closer. We're getting closer by the day. You guys, I appreciate you. You're making the climb happen. We're creeping closer. We're under 40 to go to 1,800 subscribers, so help us get there. Spread the word. But also, again, go subscribe to the Locked On Astros page and listen to their show as well. Spencer Arrighetti, unbelievable today with the Astros. He is really... We're watching him mature as a big leaguer ahead of our own eyes. And I think, my favorite thing about Arrighetti this year, and look, a lot of it is out of necessity. Astros had to take kid gloves off. Innings limits don't exist for this team. You're in a race. You've had 1 billion injuries. Are you worried about it? Maybe, of course, doing something to your pitcher in the long run? Yeah, of course. Arrighetti's got an arm slot that's way low. You're always going to freak out about guys like that with elbow and shoulder stuff. You're going to freak out with any pitcher, but, a guy like that throws like that, you're always going to freak out with. But, he has really turned it on. His month of August has been fantastic. I feel like his stuff is getting better. First of all, his control has gotten so much better. Walks were a little bit of an issue today. It's been a while since we've seen one of those. He had, 4 walks in the game? But, look. That's being nitpicky. When you go 7 2/3 shutout, 2 hits allowed, strikeout 11, and he's dropped that ERA all the way down to 4.63 now, has Arrighetti. He's been fantastic. In this month, like I mentioned, of August, you just go look at it. He had 6 innings of 1-run ball against Tampa, 7 innings of 2-run ball against the Red Sox, and then 5 2/3, 4 runs against the White Sox. Not great. But came right back, 6 innings of shutout baseball, and then 7 2/3 today of shutout with 11 strikeouts. He now has, in this month of August, 3 of his 5 starts that have gone for 10 strikeouts plus. It's going to be interesting to see. I honestly haven't checked around to look and see what the rest of the league looks like this month. You'd have to think he has some sort of consideration for AL Pitcher of the Month. I really don't know who the other ones are. If you guys know who's going to be in the running for that, you can send it in there in the comments. I'd appreciate it. I will say I'm not watching all of the league. I've been watching mainly the Mariners, and then just keeping an eye on the standings for the rest of it. Speaking of that, we will preview another team that's in the standings ahead of the Astros here in just a few moments, the Kansas City Royals, when they come to town tomorrow. They are, I believe, playing. Are they playing right now, or they played earlier today? Yeah, they already played today. They lost to the Guardians, so they're a game out in that division. But they did help the Astros this week by keeping the Guardians down a little bit. The Astros still have the hope, and I know that you can go ahead and want to poo-poo on it all you want. There is still enough time for the Astros to get the second-best division winner record in the American League and secure a first-round bye. But we'll see if that happens. Arrighetti, though, look, the hype is starting that he got from a lot of people inside of the organization. A lot of the players, has definitely, it's definitely starting to meet that hype. And as I mentioned, kid gloves are off with this guy. They're not gonna hold him back, and they can't. They can't afford to hold anybody back at this point. They're in a 6-man rotation right now. When they get to the month of September, you basically have to stay there, and he has to keep starting right now. Simple as that. he's deserving of continuing to get his starts. And you know what? You rest in the offseason. You got to win now. And, yeah, it's where they're at. It's very obvious that that's where they're at. They're not going to hold him back at all. But his control has gotten so much better. He can spin it better than anybody else. He's got a big-time fastball, and he is a large, massive, huge part of this story of why the Astros have turned this thing around and really turned it on in the last 2 months. Early on for him was terrible. It really, really was. He was just not very good. There was no consistency at all. And really, I think you go back to his last start in the month of June against the Rockies where he kind of had that moment. His next start wasn't very good. But after that, he's only had 2 outings where he's given up 4 runs. Everything else has been 2 or less. And that is covering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 starts. So 7 of those 9 starts, he's been 2 runs or less. It's pretty good. It's really good. And it's not like he's played a bunch of slappies. He's faced Minnesota. He's faced the Rangers. Okay, whatever. He's faced the Dodgers. He's faced the Red Sox. He's faced Baltimore. He's faced Philadelphia today. He's gone out there and said, buck up. I'm going to do it. It's going to make what they do. They have decisions on their hands when they get themselves to that spot where they start running into the postseason. Like when they win this AL West. He's going to be the odd man out in all likelihood because he's a rookie. But he's not going to be the odd man out from the standpoint of pitching. He's just going to have to go into a role. And that's a lethal. If he can transition into that role in the postseason, he can be insanely valuable to this team. He can give you multiple innings, and he can spin it. And spin matters. It just does still in this sport. I know that the fastball also matters, and he can run it up there too. But being able to spin it like he can, and when he gets ahead and counts and starts spinning it, these guys are just flailing up there. And it has me very optimistic and very hopeful for the future. I was always hopeful and optimistic, but I will say he has raised the bar for me of what I think is going to come for him a lot. And when you think about him and you think about Hunter Brown, and I'm going to keep saying it, I would go down the road of looking into keeping Fromber. But if you have those 3 anchors and you get Christian Javier back, probably not next year, I would assume. But Luis Garcia back next, they're going to get back to a point eventually where they've got this wealth of pitching. That's a good problem. It's a very good problem to have. We all said that before the year too, and then look, it just falls apart like paper mache. It's baseball. Arms are finicky. So it might not stay that way. I get that. But he has forced himself right into the mix and shown everybody I belong. And you have to love it for a guy that grew up here too. I know he was born in New Mexico, but spent basically his entire childhood here. I think Cinco Ranch, I believe. Unbelievable what he did again today. And I was really, could you imagine how nice that would have been if the Astros threw another no-hitter against the Phillies in Philadelphia? I'm telling you, again, I'm going to toot my own great experience for a second. That was unbelievable to be at when they threw a no-hitter in the World Series and be there in person. It was like, what? I know it was combined in there. He was going to be combined tonight. And I was hoping for it. I was really hoping those Philly fans would have to listen to that, deal with that again. Like, oh my God, this team, I know we just beat them for 2 straight days, but come on, no hit again. Astros love to flirt with them. They could have 3 this year. They should have 2, it felt like. Fromber just, that 9th inning in Arlington just fell apart, and it did not happen there for him. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Royals series. Big, important series this weekend at Minute Maid Park. Can the Astros continue this offense back at home and have a good weekend? 4-game set against them. We'll talk about it next here in the Locked On Astros Postcast. I tell you guys all the time about my love and fascination with being hydrated. It is a massive, massive key to anybody's life. It's kind of a big deal. I'm very active, and because I'm very active, I like to mix in some things that help my hydration. Even though I drink water all day, I like to have Liquid IV available to me to get some of the electrolytes and get some of those nutrients back into my system. Has not been as hot recently. I'm big on it when I go out and mow the yard. I do need to go out and mow the yard, but hasn't been as hot. But guess what? Even though it's not as hot, it's still hot, and I'm out there sweating, and I still need to replenish those electrolytes and all those nutrients, and that's exactly what Liquid IV gives me. For me, it's always, my number one always is the sugar-free peach flavor. I mean, I love it. Absolutely love it. It's so simple, of course, Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates you better than water alone. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code LOCKEDONMLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. And before we get back to our Astros discussion and talk about the Royals series real quick, I want to remind you guys, hey, maybe you're going out to Minute Maid Park this weekend and you need tickets. You don't have them yet. Great deals to be had on the Game Time app. I love going to live events. You love going to live events. It makes all the memories. You've heard me talk a lot about all the memories that I have had, been able to make going to these games throughout the years. Make some memories for yourself by hitting the Game Time app, downloading it right now, and getting yourself tickets to go see your favorite team this weekend, to go see whatever show, concert it is that you want to go see with the Game Time app. It's awesome. They got all-in pricing. If you toggle this feature, it shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They also will give you seat views. You can get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy it. It's a big deal, especially if you go to a place that has obstructed seating. There's a few of those in baseball. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Locked On Astros Postcast on a Wednesday evening. Thank you for joining us here live on the channel. If you're new to it, please hit that subscribe button. If not, check out the show on podcast. Of course, anywhere that you get your podcast, you get it for free. Locked On Astros. And, you could do that. And if you're listening to it there, go over and find the Locked On Sports Houston page and hit the subscribe button. That way you can join us live when these shows happen. Of course, I will be doing, like I mentioned, Astros this weekend. Tomorrow will be the first of 4 this weekend between the Astros and the Kansas City Royals. The Astros are creeping closer to the end of this stretch of 18 consecutive days with a baseball game. After this series against the Royals, they will head to Cincinnati, where they will play a 3:10 game on Monday, and then they will have a day off on Tuesday. Weird. Totally weird. Why not just play it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then take the day off on Thursday where you could travel back? But that's for the people that make schedules. It is what it is. This series against Kansas City, as I've mentioned, very important. From the standpoint, first of all, you want to beat good teams, right? You want to have a better record against winning teams. Now, the Astros in recent months have played a lot better against winning teams. Still, overall this season, they are below 500 against teams with a winning record at 30-39. This is one of those teams you'd like to do. This could also be a team that you see in the postseason. They are in the mix to win the Central. Friday night's going to be a very good pitching matchup. Hunter Brown against Brady Singer. That's Thursday night. Friday night is going to be Framber Valdez up against a man that's been a wonderful addition when it comes to an offseason addition. Seth Lugo has been awesome for them. I think he's had some rough starts recently where the numbers have dipped a little bit. But overall, they've had a great time picking him up. Yusei Kikuchi will go on Saturday. That's the 6:10 first pitch up against Cole Reagans, who's also having a stellar season for them. And then on Sunday, it's TBD for the Royals. It'll be Ronel Blanco for the Astros. The Royals are going to be a team kind of like the teams of the past, that 2015 team, maybe not to the same level because you just absolutely hated that team when they beat the Astros and went on to win the World Series that year. But I don't think you're going to like them necessarily when you play them. And, they're pretty young and fun and dumb, and they try hard all over the yard. They got Salvador Perez still mashing bombs over the fence. Bobby Witt Jr. is an absolute freak. He's having an MVP caliber season, and he's not going to win it because Aaron Judge is hitting 1 billion home runs this year. They just got a lot of really solid baseball players across the board. They can smash the ball over the fence. Where are they at? That's not as much as I thought. They're 8th in the American League, so not as great. But they've got some guys that can still pop it. And they don't play in the most conducive ballpark for home runs all the time. So it's going to be a tough series. And at worst, you have to split. You can't do worse than that. I would hope that, again, you're back at home and you're thinking, you know what? Maybe it'll be better than a split, right? Maybe you can pull off better than a split. Maybe you can take 3 of 4 against them. We'll see. I think it's going to be very difficult to do that. I think, honestly, a split for me, I wouldn't be the most mad about it. As long as the Mariners lose this weekend, which I haven't even looked at who Seattle is playing over the next few days because the Astros still hold their 3.5 game lead over the Mariners in the American League West because the Mariners did win their baseball game earlier today. Seattle, real quick as I'm pulling up their schedule, they're off tomorrow, so the Astros can pick up a half game, push it back to 4. They got the Angels this weekend. They did get swept by the Angels not too long ago. It's a tough stretch for the Astros. Are going to have to play well. They got the Angels for 3 this weekend on the road. Then they go to Oakland for 4. Yep, Astros have to play well against Kansas City. 3. I take back my split. They have to take 3 of 4 against the Royals. Has to happen. Hey, appreciate you guys joining us today. Don't forget to come back. Join us tomorrow after Astros and Royals. Same channel. We'll do it a little bit later, though, of course, because it'll be about 10 o'clock at night. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. We'll talk to you tomorrow night after Astros and Royals right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast.